Inside a pitch-black mud hut, a young woman named Budia is thrashing in the agonizing final stages of childbirth. Her screams tear through the cold, silent night. But just outside the door, her husband and father-in-law sit completely still. Their eyes are locked entirely on stolen potatoes roasting in burning embers. Neither man gets up to help her. They are frozen by a chilling calculation. If one goes inside to check on the dying woman, the other will absolutely devour the larger share of the food. This silence is the inevitable byproduct of a life lived on the edge of the grave. Chronic hunger has reached a point where basic human empathy has become a luxury they can no longer afford. By the time morning breaks, Budia's screams have stopped. She and the unborn child are dead. The two men have absolutely nothing. Looking at the bare mud walls and ragged clothes of their village, it's clear they didn't have a single coin to buy medicine or call a doctor while she was alive. But now that she has passed, rigid social and religious customs kick in. The village demands that they suddenly produce the funds to properly dispose of her body. Death has suddenly granted Budia the value she was denied every single day of her life. To understand how they got here, we have to look at the village hierarchy. Gisu and Madhav belong to the Chamars, a severely marginalized caste trapped at the absolute bottom of the local economy. Over his 60 years, Gisu has adopted a lifestyle of deliberate idleness known as Akash Vriti. He survives on odd scraps and petty theft rather than taking on consistent labor. Look at the peasant class around them. The farmers are out plowing the fields under the punishing sun, breaking their backs from dawn to dusk. Yet those exhausted farmers are barely better off than Gisu. The system is entirely stacked against them, heavily favoring the landlords. Gisu has calculated that in a rigged game where hard work only guarantees more poverty, the most rational move is to stop playing entirely. His apathy is his rebellion. Now, needing a kafan, a burial shroud, the father and son go to the local zamindar, the wealthy landlord, and perform an exaggerated, weeping display of grief. The landlord hates them. He has literally beaten them before. But sitting at a comfortable distance with his wealth on display, the strict obligation of death rituals forces his hand. He angrily throws 2 rupees at them. Seeing the landlord's donation, the local merchants follow suit. Suddenly, they have accumulated 5 whole rupees for a death fund. For men who have spent their lives scrambling for grain, 5 rupees is an astronomical fortune. It is more cash than they have ever held. The village eagerly opens its wallets to fund religious performativity and death rituals, actively refusing to finance a woman's survival. The 2 men head to the market. They wander from shop to shop, scrutinizing various silks and satins for the shroud. But as evening falls, a realization sets in. Whatever beautiful cloth they buy will be placed on the pyre and burned with the body. Driven by what they call divine inspiration, they bypass the textile merchants entirely. They walk straight into a tavern. They order a full bottle of liquor, followed by copious amounts of food frying in the vendor's shallow pans, spicy meat, fried fish, and heavy breads. For the starving, trading a useless burial cloth for a night of survival is the only logical math they have left. They are choosing a few hours of life over a ritual for the dead. As they gorge themselves, the alcohol brings out a bizarre rationalization. They declare that Budia is a saint, earning her own way into heaven because she provided them with this one last incredible feast. Drunk and completely stuffed, Madhav notices a starving beggar staring at them. He grandly hands over a plate of their leftover food. For the first time in his life, Madhav is experiencing the profound thrill of philanthropy. He gets to feel the pride of giving. They finally have access to the virtues of high society: generosity, charity, moral superiority, and it is entirely funded by exploiting the corpse of a loved one. A terrifying thought eventually breaks through Madhav's drunken haze. What will they say when people ask where the shroud is? Gisu just laughs out loud. He knows the village will simply give them more money to avoid a religious scandal. The story reaches a cruel point of clarity. A woman who didn't get a single clean rag to cover her body while she was alive suddenly demands a pristine new cloth in death. Munshi Premchand wrote this story, Kafan, to completely shatter the literary myth of noble poverty. The idea that poor people are inherently virtuous is exposed as a comfortable lie. In a completely broken world, a funeral is the only way the marginalized can afford to feel alive. In a completely broken world, a funeral is the only way the marginalized can afford to feel alive.